He has done half a ton deadlift, got a role in TV series Game of Thrones, became the strongest man on a planet, experienced numerous injuries and facial nerve paralysis. He left his career for 2 years and became a boxer, defeating his main opponent Eddie Hall, a man who made millions of dollars with his persistence and unusual appearance. And he comes from the country of Vikings, Iceland. This man is Haftor Bjornsson, and this is a big video about him. By analogy with Arnold Schwarzenegger, not everyone could pronounce Bjornsson's surname properly. Although, what do we want from a country with such names of national parks? However, this did not prevent Haftor from becoming famous, especially since you can always make up a nickname. And many people remember Bjornsson as Mountain, which became attached to the giant after his participation in TV series Game of Thrones. But not everyone knows that Haftor was not always a mountain. You just look at how he looked in 2006. Now it is hard to believe, but the path of the athlete to the appearance that he has now, brutal and appropriate to his size, was quite long. At the time of his participation in the Strongman competitions, he was called Monster Baby because of his baby face. Haftor himself even jokingly published these shorts in which he briefly made it clear why he wears a beard and does not want to shave it off. But anyway, behind the brutal look and huge weight of 200 kg, there are also problems with heart, breathing and other body systems.
My right hand had nervous issue.
Yeah.
A couple of years back, nerve. Yeah.
What caused it?
What caused it? They said because of I grew so fast in a short period of time that my nerves were didn't have enough space.
Oh my gosh.
I gained around 40 kilograms in 1 year. I lost all my grip in my right hand.
Wow.
Had surgery. It's like 10 times better now.
Yeah.
But this arm is always a bit weaker.
For some time, Haftor also lived with quite severe atrophy of the facial nerve. But despite the speculation of his fans that it could be a stroke, everything turned out not so terrible. Haftor was diagnosed with such a disease as Bell's palsy, which according to doctors is not related to his activity and can be caused by a viral infection. In fact, the athlete was lucky because in his case the atrophy was completely gone and even at the time of diagnosis did not prevent him from living a normal life and training. In general, Haftor admits that he doesn't like to talk about his problems because it's obvious that it's hard to be a giant. I will remind you that the height of the athlete is 206 centimeters and the weight somewhere between 145 to 200 kg. And interesting fact, height of his parents was also over 2 meters and his grandfather was even 1 centimeter taller than Haftor. Just imagine such a person in the economy class of an airplane. But wait a minute, actually we have a video. And I'm not even talking about the selection of clothes, because what's the point of making clothes with 5XS size, if there are maybe a dozen people like him in the entire world? Anyway, according to Bjornsson, it's a challenge, but anyway, his appearance opened all the doors to success.
Like, I love my grandfather, obviously my grandma and everything, but there was times as a young kid where I was like, this, you know. I remember they woke me, like I had to go at early mornings, I have to like pick up stones and put them into a barrel, and just to make sure that the roads were like smooth. Take all the big rocks and like put them on the barrels, and I hated that job, but like I did it for days and weeks, picking up rocks, and that was probably the beginning of, you know, my strongman training, picking up rocks.
In general, Haftor himself says that in strength sports he was given everything quite easily. But nevertheless, there were some moments that made my eyes bleed. Take at least this fragment with his first 300 kg deadlift. No matter what anyone says, but Haftor's way from a terrible deadlift without technique to a half a ton deadlift took 11 years. 9 times he took the title of the strongest man on a planet. And this is only the most important tournaments. If you count all the cups for the first places in tournaments, you get a number of 56. And in 2015, Bjornsson broke a 1000-year record at the world's strongest Viking competition in Norway, dragging a 650 kg log 5 steps forward. As the athlete himself says he has always been inspired not by just strong people, but by disciplined people like Schwarzenegger, who took the Olympia title 7 times and succeeded in other areas. This is the model Haftor took for himself when he met his idol after another victory at one of the Arnold Strongman Classic Championships.
How many calories do you eat every day? A lot. So you don't want to say a number. Is it 10,000?
Yeah, it's roughly 10,000 calories. I eat a lot every day, a lot of steak and rice, some sweet potatoes, you know, meat-wise, mostly steak.
And then what are you going to have for dinner tonight when this is all finished?
Steak and a potato.
Very nice.
Well, no matter how many steaks Haftor eats or what competitions he wins, after a certain point, the ambitions of any legendary athlete bring him to a dead end. It's when you have won everything you can several times in a row and it's time to put yourself in the history of sports. Not just by winning competitions, but by some incredible records. And for that, you always need to challenge the best of the best. Eddie Hall was and still is such an athlete, who for the first time exceeded half a ton in a deadlift. This was an incredible achievement for the world of powerlifting, and Haftor decided to compete with him. In his numerous videos, the giant said that he was sure that he could break this record and that with proper training it was possible to lift even 520 kg if you are dedicated to this movement. But being a very thoughtful athlete, Haftor decided not to take any risks, and in the pandemic brought himself to the record of 501 kg, just to fix his name in the history of this record as a fact. And of course, he succeeded. Of course, many people criticized Haftor, saying 1 kg is not serious. After all, Eddie Hall was really the first guy who did the impossible, and Haftor Bjornsson just followed his footsteps and broke the record only on 1 kg. Of course, Eddie Hall is not going to try to break this record again. Moreover, the record was set at non-official competitions. In general, you can think differently about him, but the fact remains that Haftor is the strongest in the world in this movement at the moment. Briefly, for those who do not know, Eddie and Haftor were good friends until at one of the competitions the judges gave the title to Eddie Hall, unfairly according to Haftor. He posted his displeasure on Instagram. Everything turned into personal insults and it even led to a fight between these two giants. Of course, both Eddie and Haftor understand that their conflict had grown into something big and public, and all the hype around it could be used as a promotional boost for the fight, which itself was much more profitable than any of their potential victories in the strength sports. Any fights between the biggest fighters in the world, or any unconventional fights, not even real ones, like the video of Haftor and Conor sparring, get some unimaginable views. Of course, for such an event, both athletes had to plunge into a different world of laws and training. Haftor himself said that boxing is not the same as a powerlifting. For him personally, working with iron never felt like work, while the preparation for the fight, and in particular calorie control, was extremely difficult for him. By the shape of both athletes, it was obvious that they take the upcoming event with all responsibility. The more interesting it was to watch their preparation, and of course the match itself was expected a huge number of fans of both strength sports and martial arts. Some athletes even have been caught by Eddie Hall at a bad time, and one of them was Larry Wills, who on eve of the fight posted this picture with the words, "This is my prediction for the upcoming fight."
I was just going to ask you, how Thor's balls taste in your mouth? Do they taste good?
How's the biceps?
Biceps good, man.
Is it?
Really good, yeah.
So when you lose, you're ready for 10 grand to pay up, right?
No, I'm ready to take 10 grand off you. That's what's going to happen, man. It's a real deal. Can I just ask, that post you put up with my head decapitated, yeah? What positivity at all whatsoever was aimed towards me when you did that? Can I ask?
The positive part is I want to hype for the fight.
Okay.
Get the crowd going. Eddie, I work with you in the past.
But where was the positivity towards me, considering we were good friends? And where was the positivity towards me? I'm asking you man to man. Where was the positivity? If you're going to do that, without saying it up front, that to me is a kick in the dick, mate.
If you took serious offense to it, I apologize. That's not what I intended. I intended to stir up the pot, get some excitement going, make for a big match. I think it's really exciting.
All right.
And honestly, I just for the cameras. If I offended you, I'm sorry.
Well, you did. Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Apology accepted.
All right, brother.
Carry on sucking Thor's dick, and I'll look forward to taking 10 grand off you.
That 10 grand is mine, by the way.
It's not, mate. Anyway,
Go with the bicep.
see you in a bit. Thank you, man.
Anyway, the fight finally took place. The athletes decided to give $200,000 of prize money to charity, but it is clear that the prize money from this tournament is not even 15% of the total amount that was earned by both athletes and the promoters of the events. Fights of this level and such hype are valued at tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars, but very often they are turned out as a big disappointment. But not in this case. Both Haftor and Eddie showed a really good fight. Eddie threw heavy punches and Haftor was more technical and also attacked very powerfully. During this fight both athletes were knocked down. Eddie Hall got a cut. In general, a real interesting fight, the result of which was the victory of Haftor Bjornsson. In addition to this fight, Haftor also had 3 more fights, 2 of which were draws, and 1 more fight with the hero of one of our recent videos, Devon Larratt. This fight, of course, was much less spectacular than the fight with Eddie, and was more of a tick in Devon Larratt's wishlist than something serious, because we all know that where there is a hype, there is a Devon. At this point, Haftor said that he finishes his career in boxing, even though not a long one. Boxing was more of a challenge than a real career for the athlete of his size, and returning to Haftor's words, this sport was considered by him as a full-time hard work. 4 months ago, Haftor appeared on his YouTube channel announcing his future plans for his life. He said that he wants to spend more time with his family and, of course, set himself new ambitious goals. This time the giant decided that just lifting or squatting with a huge weight will not be enough. It makes no sense to return to a strongman, because he has already won everything that was possible. That's why he decided to write his name in history once again by breaking the record of 1182.5 kg in the sum of 3 movements in powerlifting. Yes, it is powerlifting that became the giant's next challenge. But it was not even a few months after the announcement that Haftor tore his pectoral muscle, and here is how it was. Most likely, the injury happened because of the rather fast progress and the fact that Haftor hasn't trained with his weight limits for a very long time. In general, when you look at this athlete, you wanna ask, where's the limit in sports? You have won everything you could possibly win. You are a dollar millionaire. Your popularity in social media is enough to live comfortably until the rest of your life. So why did you choose the record breaking again? Haftor himself argued this with the family. According to him, it is all in order to look like an example in the eyes of his children. Bjornsson is now in his 2nd marriage, having gone through a difficult period when he did not have the opportunity to see his daughter.
It's difficult, you know. I'm human like everyone else. I have feelings. I go through hardships like everyone else, and I had to go through some bad stuff. I took it as strength, and I thought to myself, I'm not gonna let this, even though it kind of did, completely ruin my life. I want to be honest about this right now. I actually haven't seen my daughter in 3 years. Like I haven't physically I haven't been able to hug my daughter for 3 years. The hardest thing I've gone through, and it's very hard for me to talk about it.
I completely understand, man.
And the hardest thing is there's nothing I can do. Like, of course, if I could, I would go now and see her.
Of course, now looking at Haftor's life, we can absolutely say that he's happy. His current wife, Canadian model Kelsey Morgan, and their size difference have become another topic to discuss. After all, she is 1 meter 58 centimeters tall, and they look really funny next to each other. Any TikToks where the couple demonstrates this difference gain millions of views, and their videos together can be watched as a separate form of art. And one more thing, guys, me and my team built a super powerful project that will help you to grow your muscles. Just check out the description, you will be surprised. Make sure to check out this episode about another giant, Levan Saginashvili, and let me know if you would like to see the second episode about Haftor Bjornsson, because it is simply impossible to fit a life of such a big athlete in one episode. And with you as always was Fedor Chepki. See you soon.